Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of the Spring into Action Challenge. I hope everybody's doing great. Week 5 runs Monday, April 9th through Saturday, April 14th. So you're on the downhill. We've completed weeks 1 through 4. You guys are doing amazing. I love watching your points roll in and the enrollments, and I hope that you guys are feeling the energy and having fun with this challenge. I know that it's kind of repetitive as far as the things we're asking you to do, but honestly, it's that consistency of the same old things that really brings you success. So that's the only magic formula that I have found, and I've watched it been taught time and time again, that it is the same sharing, having experiences, teaching classes. It's the same thing over and over. And when you get in the habit of doing that, that's when things really start to go. So here we go with week 5. Okay, as normal, I will download your point tracker. Same thing as all of the other weeks. I hope that some of you as we talk about strengths, consistency is what is my top strength. So consistency really, really helps me, and I actually like it when things are kind of the same and I get into a groove. So I'm sorry for those of you that like change and need some excitement. Hopefully the webinars and the lives are providing a little bit of that for you. But as far as the basics and the points, we really want to keep that consistent again. So here we go this week. Same thing for all of your points. This is the webinar, so it's posted. We are going over the share guide. And the live this week will be Wednesday, April 11th at 9:30. That's Mountain Daylight Time, and Vanessa Caseboat will be doing that for us. I just called her by her middle name. That was weird. Vanessa Hansen. I didn't even know her when she had her middle name. Anyway, we'll be doing the live for us. And then this week's enrollment incentive is Spearmint, and I'll talk about that right now. So as normal on week 5, this week 5 points post will be posted Saturday on the Pure Essentials Spring into Action Facebook group. So Spearmint. So I know that I'm choosing these oils as enrollment incentives for other people that may be not experiencing what we're experiencing, but I think it flows well anyway. I'm giving these as prizes for our weekly winners, so they really are coming to you, but I'm choosing these oils for the energy of the oils for the week. And so I'm also trying to choose oils that people are not going to get in their normal kits that they buy. And Spearmint is one that people are really familiar with. Spearmint as far as gum and that kind of flavoring, but not so familiar with the oil. But the reason that I chose Spearmint for this week, it is the oil of confident speech. And so as we start talking about sharing doTERRA, whether it's asking people to share and coaching them through sharing, which is what we're going to get into, but also asking them to do the business or be involved a little bit more that way, it can be scary. And so I think we could all use a little bit of Spearmint to give us that confident speech. Let me read to you a little bit about it. Spearmint inspires clarity of thought and confident verbal expression. And I know I can use this, and I hope you know that a lot of times, you guys, I'm giving you oils and teaching you things that I need reminders of because that's what's coming up for me. So hopefully this is helping you. Spearmint promotes confidence in expressing oneself verbally, especially when speaking in front of groups of people. So perfect when we're teaching classes. It helps individuals create an effective stage presence by infusing them with confidence. And who couldn't use a little bit more of that? It helps you take a public stand on behalf of your values and opinions. Spearmint can be a helpful remedy for those who struggle with communicating clearly from a wide range of reasons, from feeling scattered and inarticulate to stumbling over one's words. And I do that quite often, I'm sure you've noticed. It assists individuals in becoming emotionally clear about what they want to say and then saying it. So it helps them access their inner light and convey that light to the world with clarity and confidence. And that just really reminded me of doTERRA, because that's exactly what we're doing when we're sharing doTERRA. is we are trying to access our inner light and what we're passionate about, and conveying that light to the world so that with clarity and confidence, so that we can change others' lives, not just our own. So again, the negative emotions that Spearmint is going to deal with are fear of public speaking, timid, holding back opinions, or not being able to articulate. So it's going to give you confidence. It's going to help you articulate communication. It's going to give you clarity and courage. So that is this week's oil. So again, anybody that you enroll with 100 PV this week, Monday through Saturday, make sure that you post their name. Their first name is fine, and their new member number, whether it's a wellness advocate or a wholesale customer, doesn't matter. Post that underneath this picture on the Facebook group. And make sure that you're posting that, because if it's not posted right on there, then my assistant is probably me or whoever's going through it we're not going through every single post to try and find those. So please make sure that you are posting them where you need to have them so that we can get those oils mailed out to them as well. So, and then also make sure you're keeping track of those enrollment points for your incentive trip with doTERRA. If you want to go to Puerto Vallarta with us in February. And then also this month, if you are enrolling this week, well, anytime this month, you get 50 PV. And if it's 100 PV enrollment, again, they get 50 PV. So if you have questions on any of that, let me know. All right, let's jump right into our doTERRA Empowered Success. So let's just review a little bit. We've gone over this Healthy Can Be Simple guide and the Natural Solutions class handout. We have done the Live guide, and now we're going to jump into the Share guide. So that's where we're headed and what we're doing. Again, just for repetition, that's how I learn. If you can go to doTERRA.com, under our advocates, click on Empowered Success. That's where you're going to find all of these guides that we are going over. You can also purchase any of them. So you can download them here or purchase them, add them right to your loyalty rewards order. I do suggest, again, that you have a couple of these to hand out to people. And also it's nice to look at them as I'm doing these presentations as well. This is just looking at that same screen just below here. I just wanted to point out, if you go to this team training tab, you will actually find these videos. Again, it's going over the same stuff that I'm going over, but sometimes learning from someone else is a little bit better, or you might catch something that I've missed. So if you really want to watch this, if you want to watch this share guide again, it's there for you. Okay, these guides again are tools for us to help us build our pipeline. So this share guide comes in after you've enrolled somebody, right? This is going to help you enroll them further in doTERRA. We talked about the Live guide being the second enrollment, and this share, the job of the share is actually to commit that somebody else to host a class for you. So again, Healthy Can Be Simple invites them to a class, invites them to try an oil. The Natural Solutions class handout is to obviously teach the class and enroll people. Once they're enrolled, we want to give them the lifestyle overview, which enrolls them in the LRP. We want to invite them to a membership overview, which we covered last week. And there's not a guide to that. That's something that you can incorporate into this Live guide or share the webinar with them, something like that. And then we are going into this share guide today, which its job title is to commit somebody to host a class for you. Now remember, this is not, they're not committing to do this as a business. They are just committing to gather people in their home. And we'll kind of talk about the different levels of that in just a minute. So this is what this beautiful guide looks like. This is considered the soft launch guide. So looking back, the launch guide is actually when somebody does decide they want to do the business, and we have this launch guide really launches someone to the rank of elite. And so this is considered the soft launch guide because it does go over so many of the same skills that you're going to need to launch. Because remember, when you do start doing this as a business, your classes, sharing the oils, and sharing this opportunity with people is, crucial to your business. And so this really is the soft guide to teach you kind of how to get comfortable with that. So this is a great way for you to filter how, if somebody is just going to be a sharer or a builder. So remember, most people when they come in, you know, we're giving them those different pathways. We're letting them know the pathways we have. You can be a customer, you can share the oils, or you can build a business. We're introducing those pathways to them. And most people are not going to know that they want to build until they've shared, and then maybe they decide they want to take it further. So going through the share guide with someone, usually you can filter out people who are really committed and really capable from others that maybe just truly want to share, want to host a class, and that's about it. So use this for you. The way that they fill out this form, the way that they show up for this form really is a good way for you to build, filter whether or not they're going to maybe be a great builder for you. And again, I'm not trying to turn people away or anything, but it just can be, we want to make sure that we're spending time with people that really want to move forward with us. We don't want to be dragging people. Okay, so we want to remember that it is easy to share, especially when we're sharing what we love. It's very easy to share something that you love with someone. If you're trying to share something that you don't know much about, or maybe something that you don't like, then it's torture to share, right? But what we want the oils to be is just like you just went to this brand new restaurant that is so great, or you just saw the best movie of your life. It is so easy to share that with someone that you're talking to. You actually want to call your friends and share them. Oh, let's go to this place. I'd love to eat it, or you have to see this movie. That's exactly what we want doTERRA to be for you. We want this to be something that is natural. Sharing is probably the most important thing in our business. You really cannot build a business without sharing. It is quite actually impossible. And so this really is the first step to everything else that we do. And when someone starts sharing and they have little successes, that's how we build their belief. And the more belief we can build up in others and in ourselves, the further we're going to go. So on this first page, it just reminds people. So this book is actually one that I like to give to people and let them kind of go over it on their own. And then you can call back and just kind of reference with them. Hey, how did you do on this page? Do you need help on this page? Kind of a thing. So this is not something that you need to sit down and go through with them. You can if you want to, but it isn't really necessary. That's kind of how you filter, is how people go through this. So this is one that you can say, hey, great, you want to host a class? Go over this share guide and then call me. I'll call you in the next couple of days, and we'll see what questions you have. So as they're reading this, it's just letting them know that if they're sharing from their heart, then things are going to be a little bit more natural for them. When you experience something wonderful that has made a difference in your own life, you naturally want to share it. So this tells them, remember this is kind of put together as they're going through this on their own. This first page tells them why they would want to share doTERRA. So of course they can empower others, they can earn rewards, and it actually tells them how they can do that. So under earn rewards, it says, as your contacts enroll, you can earn free product or commission. Ask your upline leader for details. So this is exactly what, if they're reading this, then if they ask you, hey, how do I earn rewards? Then this is where you would be, whatever you're doing with them. If they truly are just the host and they're not going to build it all, and this is where you give them those options, then you can say, hey, depending on how many people enroll, we can put them under you, but I would keep the enrollment ship, or I would be the enroller because I'm going to continue to support them and blah, 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 teach them, but I'm going to give you a referral fee, or I'm going to give you this much PV. So this is where it's not written in this guide, because this really is where you decide how you're running things. So this is your opportunity to tell them what the options are. And again, you may be doing different things with different people. So I love that this guide leaves that open and actually tells them to talk to you. And then it lets them know, of course, planting that seed that they can create an income. It then gives them the option of hosting classes or one-on-ones. And I love that they give them both of these options, because there are a lot of people as we're making our list. So this has them actually make a list of 20 people that they want to share the oils with. And it helps them break down whether they think that person would be good for a class or if that person needs a one-on-one. And so right up front, they are taking that into consideration. All right, moving on to page 2, we're letting them know that there are 3 steps to inviting. So it's not just throw something on Facebook and hope that people show up. It's really important that they know about these steps. So if you notice on this page, well, actually on page 3, what's blue down here is if you are inviting someone to share the business. And this white part, even though the printing is blue, is inviting to share the oils. So I love that we have this share guide covers both. So you can give this to somebody that wants to share the business or to somebody that wants to share the oils in there. It's going to give them that information. A lot of the information is the same because, again, we're sharing. You share the same way regardless of what it is you're sharing. It just lets them know that if they follow these simple steps to effectively inviting their friends to a product or a business class, that if they follow these, that's how they're going to learn. Sorry, I should just read it. Follow these simple steps to effectively invite your friends and family to a product or business presentation to help them learn more about doTERRA. So again, they're going to do the same thing regardless if they're inviting for product or business. The first thing is to share an experience, and this actually gives you scripts. Some people hate scripts, some people love them. I don't like to follow them because people can tell I'm reading, so please don't just read them. But what I love about scripts is it gives me an example of what someone might say, and then I'm easily able to put it in my own words and understand, okay, this is the point that I'm trying to make. So it gives you those scripting examples. So we want to make sure that we're sharing an experience with them. Then we want to make sure that we invite them to the class and then teaches them how to remind them to come. And this actually gives them, walks them through. So again, this is something that they can read on their own, and then you can go over when you talk to them about it. Okay, the next page is letting them know that they can share anytime, anywhere. That the most important thing is that they're building trust and making connections. So these are offering them different ways that they can share. So it doesn't always have to be, obviously they have share an oil experience on there, but them just sharing their story, sharing a sample, sharing online. There's lots of different ways to share. And I love that last sentence right here. Seek to serve, then others will naturally want to have what you have to offer. So if you're sharing out of love, if you're sharing because you're truly passionate about something, because these oils have made a difference in your life, then people really are going to want to take a closer look at what you have to offer. Sorry, I needed to hydrate. This lets them know, again, this is just telling them how they can share. So as they read this, they'll understand that it's just can be part of their day-to-day activities. At the bottom, it gives them ways that they can have stuff ready to share. The sampling ideas, obviously it's great if they have sample bottles or just the ones that they're carrying around. I can't tell you how many times I just give people the oils that I have and then just get me new ones. Even if, the sample bottles, if you carry around these little keychains, having these small reference guides, of course, are handy. Any deep blue packages or other samplings. doTERRA actually has those 3-pack of samples. I should have had a picture of those for you. I'm sorry. That they put together that are those darling little sample bottles, and they come, I think it's Melaleuca and lavender and peppermint or lemon, if I remember right. And then there's also a blend that has the Digestin, On Guard, and I think Breathe. So anyway, you can have those samples ready, carrying with you so that it's much easier to share. And then, of course, sharing online. And this walks people through all of this. And then on the next page is talking about how to sample successfully. So it's giving them the tips. So again, you can sit down and go over this with people, but this really is self-explanatory. And a lot of this may seem really basic once you get going, but remember the people really need direction in the beginning, and they may read through this and think, oh, that was really obvious, and that's great, but some people really may not have any idea. And so I love that this book isn't overwhelming. You're not asking someone to sit down and read for an hour. Someone could look through this in 10 minutes and either say, yep, I got this, or they can say, oh, I didn't really think about that. Let me highlight that and ask them a question. But it really gets their mind going and gives them the basics of sampling and sharing. So actually they have that listed right here, the simple oils that quickly gives them ideas of what to sample, the ones that kind of work the best. I find that wild orange is awesome to sample. This one, like it says, peppermint, lavender, breathe, those oils that are going to give people an experience. Anyway, it gives them these tips. I'm not going to go through each of these. I do love this section. So we want to support their experience. If they have a positive experience when you're following up, this tells you what to do. Understand that some people are going to have a negative experience. Not everybody. I know it's a surprise, but not every single person is going to fall in love with doTERRA with the very first sample that you give them. But instead of just saying, oh, okay, never mind, this gives you things that you can do. So you can talk to them about maybe being open to trying a different sample, letting them know that, our bodies are all different chemically, and what works for one person might not work for another. And that's the beauty of the oils, is they all have a different chemistry makeup. And so, I use peppermint for my headaches, but my husband uses wintergreen or whatever it may be. And so let them be open to, help them be open to the lifestyle and not necessarily just that one sample that you gave them. And it lets you remind you to be patient and being invested in helping them find a solution, not just trying to get them to enroll, right? And then, of course, if you're following up and they didn't try the sample, how to handle that. It's always a good idea to have them be ready to share their story. And this is something that I would suggest that you do as well, so that you can always be ready on hand to not share your entire story all at once, but maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes, 2 minutes tops on what your story is. And this tells them why. Be prepared to share your own doTERRA experience. You want to make sure you keep it brief. But there's this asks you questions that kind of lead you into what your story is. So you can share this story when you initially sample somebody. You can also share this story at the beginning of teaching a class. But it's good to just have on hand and kind of be prepared when people ask you what you do. This is something that you can tell them. So maybe get a pen and take some note, or jot down what your story is. So I'll just share a couple of mine. I don't go into details, so you don't have to worry about compliance and all of that. You just really want to, again, speak from your heart and tell them why you do doTERRA. So that first one, what led you to doTERRA? Because some people might ask that question right out. But this book, again, tells you how to answer that. What concerns were you or your loved ones dealing with? What frustrations did you experience? So my answer for this one is I usually just say, well, I was looking for a more natural lifestyle for myself and my family. At the time, I was looking for something to help my immune function without any side effects, and I found that with doTERRA. So without going into, I had an autoimmune disease, and of course, I'm saying this now because I'm not teaching this live, but or in front of a big group. This is on a closed group, but so I can say that, but I'm not going to go into, I had an autoimmune disease and I was on these meds that I didn't like, and I was replacing meds. We want to, again, keep away from disease. We want to go with words like support, and we don't want to talk about replacing oils with meds. So just something that gets the point across without focusing on disease. What positive experience have you had with the oils? I usually just say, my first experience with oils was I was able to reduce my daughter's temperature using peppermint. And as a mom, I felt so empowered that I could actually take more control on my family's health. And so again, just a quick oil experience. Hopefully you have your own stories. If you don't, then we can certainly share ours with you. But I do challenge you, if you don't have your own stories, to create your own. The more you use the products, I promise you will get stories. And that last one, how have doTERRA products changed your life? I usually would just say something like, our life is completely different. We now use doTERRA as a preventative. We use the oils to protect and restore our bodies. It is amazing to handle things in our own home, from anything from supporting our immune systems to assisting with anxious feelings. we really do have more control over our family's health, and that is a great feeling. So just, again, simple words that speak from your heart of really, honestly, why you're doing this. So I love this page because it lets them know what you need from them without you having to spend a lot of time. So this is where when you follow up with someone, okay, you're ready to host your class. Do you have any questions? Did you go over page 6? And this just kind of lets them know what they need to do. So here's the one-on-one class, the preparation that you need, invite 12 people because you're going to, only about half of those are going to come. I mean, it really goes over lots of little things that you don't need to go over with them if they've read this. So have pens or pencils available. Again, I'm not going to read through all of these. You guys can glance through them and know what's in here. But I love this timeline down here so people can actually see. You're going to, excuse me, sample somebody, share an oil experience, day 1. And it, of course, doesn't have to follow this timeline, but this is a good timeline. We want to follow up with them in a couple of days. You want to invite them to a class at that point. You want to send them a 48-hour reminder before the class, maybe a 2-hour reminder before the class, hold the class, and then, of course, enroll them. And within, a couple of days when their kid arrives, have that wellness consult. So when you sample someone, if you're having regular classes that you can invite them to, it really is realistic that within 2 weeks you could have them enrolled and moving towards their lifestyle overview. So of course, it's not always going to happen that fast, right? I have people that I have had to plant seeds and nurture, and 6 months later they enroll. But it really is easier if you are holding consistent classes, because then when you're sampling them, you automatically have something to invite them to the very next week. So hopefully you can see the advantage of that. This next page really just goes, again, further into, it breaks it down to product and business, but what their part is as the host. So really just lets them know that getting their friends and families there is their top priority. To ensure a successful attendance at your event, you follow the 3 steps on page 3, and then it breaks this down again. And this is where it doesn't say specifically what they need to do. It kind of tells them to talk to their upline. So for example, it tells them it is their job to introduce and edify the presenter for 1 to 2 minutes. And then it has that little asterisk so that it says, hopefully you're looking at this because you probably can't read this, but then down here it says, if you are the presenter, learn how to teach others about doTERRA products. So it gives them the option of, hey, maybe, it's their first time, they're just hosting the class, so they would need to introduce you. Or if they are ready to go, if they're at that stage where they can teach their own and be the presenter, it tells them that way too. So again, over here, it gives them some scripts that they could use and talks about follow-up. Anyway, it really just walks everybody through so that if you give this to someone again and said, great, I'm so glad that you're interested in sharing this, so they don't have to commit to host a class for you to give them this book, right? This is something that if someone just says, yeah, I might have an interest in sharing, or, as you're enrolling them, if they say, we remember when we went through the natural solutions, how we had people write down names if they thought of others. So when you sit down to enroll them and you can see that maybe they wrote down some of those other names, or if you told them about the pathways and they said that they might be interested in sharing, this is the tool that you hand them and say, here's kind of the basics of sharing. Go through this, see if it's something that you're interested in. Of course, I'm here to walk you through every step of the way. Go through this, and I'll call you next week and we'll talk about if you want to move forward with hosting a class, or if you have any questions with the share guide. So again, they don't have to have already committed to host the class to give them this. This is the guide to teach them the next step and how to host a class. So, and then on the back, again, it just leads them into the next stage, right? We constantly want to be moving them forward and letting them know the next step. And so letting them know, we gave them that challenge to change their lives. Now we really want to give them that challenge to change more lives. Letting them know that sharing is rewarding. And this is where you can go into a little bit more of the details of the compensation plan. I guess, again, we don't want to go through the whole thing, but you can just tell them just the basics. Again, for everybody that you enroll, if you're the enroller, you're going to get 20% for 60 days. We also have a power of 3 bonus where most people can pay for their habits. So again, you're just kind of planting seeds and letting them know that they can be compensated from sharing. And then again, down here, it lets them know that next step. If you really do want to change your future and earn an income, then we can sit down and do a complete business overview with you. And I would love to do that. So again, I love that these guides flow with not pushing things on people, but planting many seeds and letting them know that nothing is ever required as far as sharing and building and all of that, but definitely the possibilities are there, and definitely we have the tools to walk them through that so that they're not feeling the unknown and they're not feeling alone. Because I promise as they start using these oils, they're going to have the same experiences that you did. I know I did not get into doTERRA to do this as a business, but when I started using the oils and loving them, I went through this exact same process. Sure, I'll host a class. And then that class led to another class, and then that led to more experiences. And pretty soon I was doing this as a business. And so if you can help people and hold their hand and walk them down that pathway, I think that you will find a lot of builders that didn't know that they were a builder, that didn't know that they were looking for an opportunity until it's presented to them or placed in their laps, right? Okay, so I just wanted to touch on, before I end, that sharing can be scary, right? I totally understand that when we're sharing the oils with people, when we're asking other people to share the oils, when we start talking about the business, I think it's scary for everyone. I don't know that I've ever met anybody that has not been at least a little bit afraid to open up and share with others. And so what I want to remind you guys is that sharing is easy when we share what we love. So when you have emotion behind it and it is something that you're passionate about, it does really open things up. So let the beauty of what you love be what you do. Let whatever is your favorite thing about the oils or the products, lead with that. Lead with what you love, because it is much, much easier and much less scary to share what you love with others, because then you really are just coming across as, this has changed my life and I care about you, so I want to help you change your life as well. This is something that's so wonderful that I feel obligated to share it with people. And so when you're coming from that space, it kind of takes the fear out of it and the scare out of it, because it is something that you love and you truly want other people to have that experience as well. So remember to get out of your head and into your heart. Think less and feel more. So don't go into this with, oh, I've got to do this right and I've got to say this, and you're totally in your head thinking all of this stuff. That's why these guides are so beautiful. You can stop thinking because it's all laid out before you. You can let the guides do all the thinking and just stay in your heart and express what you're feeling, because those emotions and your energy is what is going to come across to whoever you're trying to share with, whether it's in a class that you're teaching, whether you're giving a sample, whether you're asking someone else to share or walking them through it. If you let the guides take control and guide the wording so that you can think less, then you can get into your heart and just remember why you love this and why you're doing it, and feel more. And then, of course, there are those times that you've heard, life begins at the end of our comfort zone, right? It's always going to be uncomfortable for most people to teach a class. It's going to be uncomfortable for most people to talk to their friends and their family and their neighbors when you start getting out of your tight inner circle, it's getting out of your comfort zone to talk to those people about, trying an oil, coming to a class, and especially sharing this and maybe even doing it as a business. It definitely is out of your comfort zone. But you guys, this statement is true. Life really does begin at the end of our comfort zone. I'm trying really hard not to cry. So I really want you guys to understand the concept of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And what that means is we really don't grow until we are uncomfortable. If we stay in that comfort zone and where we're comfortable, even if life is good, we stop progressing. And this idea of getting comfortable being uncomfortable is not new. I mean, they do it in the Army, they do it in the Marines, where they have them do absurd things, hold their breath for so long and carry all that weight. And they do it so much that it does become easier, and it's never going to be something that they choose to do. But the more you do it, the more you get comfortable being uncomfortable, the easier it is. And the easier it is for you to move forward and handle other things. And I'm sure that you've had experiences like this in your life, right? I know a couple of things that going to Nepal for me was so out of my comfort zone, like no power, no electricity, not knowing I'm kind of a picky eater, not knowing foods, smells are a huge thing for me. The bugs, the spiders that were like the size of my hand, sleeping on the ground, not having a shower. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the first day that you go and you're uncomfortable, by the end of the week, you really are used to that. You're getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's during those times that you will grow the most. I did a challenge. Maybe some of you did that with Gina. I can't remember what it was called, 8 weeks to excellence or something, where they challenged us to do cold showers for 30 days. And that was huge for me. Like, I love a good warm shower, and I never did get used to it, but I got comfortable being uncomfortable. I knew that I could do it. And after that challenge, that's one of the things that on those days that I'm having a hard day, like, oh, can I do this? Then I can say to myself, yeah, I can do this. I've done this. I've done hard things. And it helps me grow, and it helps me look back and give confidence, right? So get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that is truly when you grow. And some things are always going to be uncomfortable, right? It doesn't mean that people say, oh, it does start being easier. But you guys, even teaching classes for me, it's still not my comfort zone. It's still not my strength. But I'm more comfortable doing it. I know that I can because I've done it before. So it's not that I'm comfortable doing it, but I'm used to being uncomfortable. And so, sorry, I'm emotional. So I know I can do it. I know I can get up in front of 200, 300, 400 people and teach a class if I need to. Again, it's not in my comfort zone, but I know that I've done it enough that I can be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I know that's a weird concept, and I just keep repeating it, but I think it's really important to understand that the more that we push ourselves, the more we'll grow. And so I just want to end with, we've talked about our whys, we've talked about our purpose, but I want you to believe what I believe, you guys, is your greatest purpose. So when I ask you, what is your greatest purpose? What I believe your greatest purpose is you. I believe that the end of this life, what you have become of yourself, is what's most important. And so your purpose really needs to be you, because how many lives you change depends on how much growth you have taken or you have gone through. How much you're able to give, how much you're able to share with others, how the biggest impact you can make on the world is growing you. Because the more you grow, the more you're going to influence others. And so if you don't know what your why is for sure, you don't know what your purpose is, just believe me when I tell you that right now, your greatest purpose, and all the time, really your greatest purpose is you. You guys are amazing. And I really want you to know that. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you can do amazing things. And the more you do that, the more you'll believe in you. And hopefully you're starting to believe in you more and know that we believe in you and we love you and we are here to watch you grow. And we hope that you do grow, because that really is the purpose of life. And we can do that through doTERRA. It's a wonderful vehicle. I love doTERRA oils. I love the products. I love everything about it, but I am most thankful for the growth that it has given me, because through that growth, I'm able to make a bigger difference in my family, my kids, and hopefully the world. So love you guys. Sorry I'm a ball baby. I hope you have a great week. And again, I know it's hard to not see you guys face to face and hear about your daily experiences, but please share some great things if you want to on Facebook. We'd love to hear about them. If you're having some discouraging things, call me, text me, message me. I really want you to know that we're here for you. Not just me, but everybody's other leaders and upline. We really do believe in you and know that you can do it, and we love you. So have a great week.